Hi everyone, I'm Cheryl and welcome to the Sewing Room channel, and this is your tip of the week. In this tip of the week, I'm going to give you some suggestions on how to get started in quilting and show you how to quickly cut some of the fabric. So I'll give you two different styles of quilts. This is just a small sample. It's about a lap quilt size, made out of fat quarters. And I like to use fat quarter packs, which I'll show you in just a moment. So this only has 6 fat quarters on it. If you want it bigger, then of course add more fat quarters. On the back, I just have plain fabric, and I'm using the fold over and stitch down type of binding to cover the raw edges. The reason why I like to use a fat quarter pack, and this has 5 fat quarters in it, is that all of the fabric pieces are coordinated together. They work well. They've got the same colors in it, and so nothing conflicts with the other one. You can get fat quarter packs with 4, 5, and sometimes all the way up to 10 or even more. So if you've got a lot of fat quarters you've been storing and trying to figure out what to do with them, this is a great project for you to do. Should you pre-wash your fat quarters? That's up to you. For this particular quilt, I didn't, because it's not going to affect some real intricate little fabric pieces that are creating a beautiful design. It's just one large piece of fabric. But if you do want to wash them ahead of time, because they are cotton, then do a zigzag stitch, sewing machine overcast stitch, or even a serger stitch on all of the raw edges. And then make sure you give them a good pressing when you're done. So here are the fat quarters. I'm going to stack them. If you're going to stack all of the fat quarters, and I wouldn't stack more than 4 or 5. This has got 5. You want to make sure that your rotary cutting blade is very, very sharp. Now I've used this just a little bit. We'll see how it's going to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to square this up, because most of your fat quarters are 18 to 20 by 21. I'll probably, because they're not all even, I'll cut them down to about 17.5 by 20, maybe up to 21. We'll see how we go. So I've got them all stacked. I've pulled this line over here a little bit. I'm going to pull it a little bit more past the cutting line. And I've lined it up on one of the lines going across this way. So you want to line it up this way and this way on your cutting mat. And then place your ruler on the line you want to cut on, and then cut. Then you want to go over to the other end. And this is going to be, I'm going to cut it down to 20.5 inches. So if you're cutting more fat quarters, you want to cut all of them the same size. And let me get my eyeballs lined up on here. Okay, and now I'm going to cut this edge. Then I'm going to turn this stack going the other way, and I'm going to bring it past the cutting line over here, as well as lining up this previously cut edge on the lines going across this way. When you're using a rotary cutter and a cutting mat, it really speeds up your cutting time. So if you don't like cutting fabric, invest in a rotary cutter and cutting mat. And then I'm going to cut this edge. And then I'm going to go over to this one, and I'm going to cut this 17.5, because some of my pieces are shorter than the 18 inch. And remember, you want them all the same size. And then cut. To stitch them together, arrange them how you want them to be, what color or pattern you want next to each other. And then take 2 of them, bring front sides together, and then stitch a 1/4 inch seam all along that edge. Because these are so big, you'll probably have 2 or 3 columns and maybe 3 to 5 rows, depending on how big you want to do it. So as you can see, it's a really easy process to get started on that one. Now, if you're interested in making this, the link to this particular project is down below your YouTube screen in the description section. So I'll talk about quilting stitches, laying your fabric together, all the different layers, and how to bind the edges off. And this is a really easy method of binding the edges on this particular quilt project. Now this is also a quilt made out of fat quarters. And if you begin to look at it, you'll notice that there is a diagonal pattern to the colors. They go from the upper left down to the lower right, or you can turn it and make it to where it's going in the opposite direction. I'm going to show you a really quick cutting process to get these squares cut really, really fast. Let's get started. Now in that quilt I just showed you, there are 5 columns going up and down. So if you're going to have 4 columns only, then you would only have 4 different colors of fabric. In mine, I've got 5 columns, so 5 colors of fabric. And you could have 6. Now, the more columns you want, you would probably need to cut your squares a little smaller. So these are the colors that I'm using. Now I'm going to show you how to cut this real fast. Now I recommend you stack fabrics also in this. Don't just do 1 layer of fabric. Do at least 2. I was doing 4 when I was cutting out that other fabric. I've just got 2 for this demonstration. So again, you want to pull the edges past a line on your cutting mat. Now there's a selvage edge on here. I don't want that included in my square. So I need to pull it way past. And then make sure you've got this side lined up. And then go ahead and place your ruler on one of the lines on your cutting mat and then cut. Now I want to cut 5.5 inch squares. So I'm going to move my ruler over 5.5 inches for 5.5. Okay, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, I did it. And again, line it up at the line up here as well as down here. And then cut. Then don't move your fabric, move your ruler over another 5.5 inches and do another cut. Then there's enough on here to go over one more time. So you'd go over one more time, 5.5 inches and cut. Now, right now I've got 4 layers. So I've turned my strip. I've got 4 layers together. I'm going to cut this edge off because it's not exactly perfectly straight and cut. Now I'm going to go over 5.5 inches and cut. And you would keep doing that all the way across until you've cut your squares. You will have a little bit left over, but that's how you can quickly cut squares for a quilt. Then stack each separate color in its own pile. This is how you would lay it out to stitch together. So I'm going to take this color first, lay one out, and then this one, and then this one, and then this is last. Then, whoops, I got more than that. There we go. Then to start the second row, this is row 1. Take this color. So you're going to start with this color this time and place it down. Then take this one and then go to the green one, put it down, then to the pink one, and then back to the blue one. And you would repeat that. Then the next time you're going to start with the purple. Then on the next row you're going to start with the green. And then next row with the pink. And then you would start over again with this until you get it to the size that you want. Then to stitch them together, you take all of the blocks in one row, bring them front sides together and stitch 1/4 inch, and then go to each next row, repeating that process. Then once all the squares in each row are stitched together, you press all your seams, then you take the 2 rows and stitch them together and keep adding on till you have it all done. Now to get more detailed information on doing this diagonal pattern quilt, there is a link below your YouTube screen. So to get to those links, scroll down till you see the word more. Click on that word and it will expand open and you will see the links appearing. Well, I hope I've inspired you to try making one of these quilts. Remember, if you're a beginner, you want to start out simple, really basic. It may not be your dream quilt, but this is how you learn the basics of quilting. Again, don't forget to scroll down below your YouTube screen to get to those video links. Also, don't forget to follow me on Instagram and make sure you go and check out my Facebook page. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time, and happy sewing. If you like the Sewing Room channel, one of the best ways to show your support is to subscribe by clicking on that red subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. And don't forget to click on share to share this video with your friends. And make sure you click on the bell so you receive notifications for all my new videos. I'm Cheryl, this is Manny, and this is Scotty. See you next time.